Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Piekarski, and I have a new book for you guys today. This book is called Junie B. Jones and Her Big Fat Mouth. So we're going to start the first chapter today. It's written by Barbara Park and illustrated by Denise Brunkus, right? So that means our author writes the words, our illustrator draws the pictures, and I'll be sure to show you guys whenever I see some pictures for you guys. So Junie B. Jones. The first chapter is called Punishment. And right off we have a picture, so I'll show you real quick. Okay, so she says, "My name is Junie B. Jones. The B stands for Beatrice, except I don't like Beatrice. I just like B, and that's all. I go to kindergarten. My room is named Room 9. There are lots of rules in that place, like no shouting and no running in the hall and no butting the other children in the stomach with your head." That's a good rule, huh? It says, "My teacher's name is Mrs. She has another name too, but I just like Mrs. and that's all. Last week, Mrs. clapped her loud hands together and then she made an announcement to us. Announcement is the school word for telling us something very important. Boys and girls, may I have your attention, please," she said. "Today is going to be a special day in Room 9. We're going to be talking about different careers you can have when you grow up." "Yeah, only guess what?" I said. "I never even heard of that dumb word careers before, and so I won't know what the heck we're talking about." Mrs. made squinty eyes at me. "A career is a job, Junie B," she said, "and please raise your hand before you speak." Then Mrs. talked some more about careers, and she said Monday was going to be called Job Day, and everybody in Room 9 would come to school dressed up like what kind of job they wanted to be. After that, Room 9 was very excited, except for not me, because I had a big problem, that's why. "Yeah, only guess what?" I said. "I don't know what I want to be when I grow up, and so that means I can't come to school on Monday, and now I'll probably flunk kindergarten." "Hooray!" shouted a mean boy named Jim. Yeah, that's not a very nice thing to say. You don't want bad things to happen to our friends in kindergarten, except Junie B. Can you guys, if you've been listening to our other stories, I bet you can guess what Junie B does. What does she usually do when she gets upset over something that somebody else says? She makes a fist at him, which isn't a good idea, right? There are better ways for us to handle it when we get upset or angry with somebody, but says, "I made a fist at him." And she says, "How would you like a knuckle sandwich, you mean Jim?" I shouted right back. Again, not a good idea. And it says, Mrs. came over to my table and she bended down next to me. "Please, Junie B, you simply must try to control yourself better in class. We've talked about this before, remember?" So even Junie B's teacher is saying the exact same thing, right? We need to learn to control ourselves even when we're upset. It's not okay to be mean to other people, right? Just because Jim was mean, we can't control what he's doing, but we can control what we're doing. So Junie B has a good teacher, right? She's saying the exact same thing. "Yes," I said nicely, "only I don't like that mean guy." Just then, my bestest friend, Lucille, who sits next to me, stood up and fluffed her ruffly dress. "I always control myself, don't I, teacher?" she said. "That's because my Nana taught me to act like a little lady, and so Junie B. Jones should act more like me." Now, I want you guys to think at home, is there anything wrong with what Lucille said, right? She's saying that Junie B should control herself and act like a lady, right? So she's just saying she should be nice, but I think it's more the way that she was saying it to Junie B, right? That Junie B isn't gonna probably like the way she's talking. It's just that there's a nicer way to talk to people when we say that. It says, I made a growly face at her. So see, she didn't like it. "I do act like a little lady, you mean, Lucille." And look, we have another picture. So there's Junie B and there's Lucille and her teacher talking to her. So even right there, you can see Lucille's not making the nicest face there either, is she? So when she's talking to her. So we gotta be aware of You know, how are we talking to people? Are we talking in a nice way? Are we making nice faces? It's not always about the things we say, is it? Well, Junie B says, you know, I do act like a little lady, you mean, Lucille, and don't say that again or I'll knock you on your can. And Mrs. did a frown at me. Just kidding, I said very quick, except for Mrs. kept on frowning, and then she gave me punishment. Punishment is the school word for sitting at a big table all by yourself, and everybody keeps on staring at you, and it makes you feel like PU. That's how come I put my head down on the table and I covered it up with my arms, because punishment takes the friendly right out of you. And so at recess, I didn't speak to Lucille, and I didn't speak to my other bestest friend named Grace either. I just sat down in the grass all by myself, and I watched Janitor paint the litter cans. And I played with a stick and an ant, and that's all. I hate room 9, I said very grumpily, except for just then I saw something very wonderful in the grass. And its name was 2 cherry lifesavers. Hey, I love those guys, I said. Then I quick picked one up, and I blowed off the germs, and I put it right in my mouth. Uh-oh. Wait, don't do that, shouted a loud voice at me. Spit that out right now. Why do you think somebody's yelling at her to spit out the cherry lifesavers, right? Let's find out. Let's see. I turned my head. It was Janitor. He was running at me speedy quick, and his jingly keys were jangling all over the place. Spit that out, I said, he yelled again, and we have another picture. So there you can see Junie B getting the lifesavers off the ground, and the janitor's yelling at her not to put those in her mouth. Is it safe to eat stuff off of the ground? No, it's not. It looks like Junie B doesn't know that, though. It says, and so then I spit the cherry lifesaver on the ground because the guy was scaring me, that's why. Janitor bended down next to me. I didn't mean to frighten you, sis, he said, but I spotted a bunch of dirty candy in the grass and I was going to clean it up when I finished painting. He looked serious at me. Don't you ever eat anything you find on the ground. Do you hear? Not ever. But I blowed off the germs, I said. Janitor shook his head. You can't blow germs off, he said. Eating things that you find on the ground is very, very dangerous. Then Janitor picked up the dangerous candy. Now run along and play, he said. I did a big sigh. Yeah, only I can't, I said, because I shot off my big fat mouth in kindergarten and then I got punishment, and now I don't like my bestest friend Lucille. Janitor smiled a little bit sad. Life is hard sometimes, isn't it, sis? He said. I bobbed my head up and down. Yes, life is PU. Then Janitor patted my head and he walked away. And so guess what? I just like Janitor, and that's all. And that's the end of our chapter 1. So hopefully things turn around in chapter 2, so she's not getting along with her friends Lucille, and she's not talking to Grace now too. So hopefully in chapter 2 they can make up. Think at home, what would you do, right? If you had a friend that you had an argument like this, right? Like where you weren't getting along, what might you do to try to fix the situation? Because it's no fun to come to school and not have anybody to hang out with or play with on the playground at recess. So hopefully they can figure this out. If you come back tomorrow, we'll read chapter 2. So I hope you guys are enjoying the new book, and I hope you guys are doing well at home. Bye guys, have a good day.